My name is Donna Gaukler. I'm the Director of Missoula Parks and Recreation. We want to give folks a little bit of an update about the Missoula Aquatics project. In November 2002, we actually learned that our aquatic facilities were in significant decay. And after a full year of further research, we were able to determine that McCormick Pool actually has less than 5 years, and at this point about 3 years left in its lifetime. A large group of citizens called the Aquatics Task Force met over the course of a summer a year ago and determined that we should present to the citizens of Missoula an opportunity to pass a bond to improve the aquatic opportunities for the citizens of Missoula. So in November 2003, the citizens passed an approximate $8.1 million bond to replace the McCormick Park swimming pool with an indoor family aquatic center, therefore bringing us from 10 weeks of swimming to 12 months year-round swimming, to replace the Playfair Park Spartan swimming pool with an outdoor family aquatics center, including a 50-meter competitive pool, to replace 3 of the current turtle wading pools at Bonner, Franklin, and Westside, and to build a brand new splash deck in Maryland Park in the Linda Vista area. With the assistance of the Missoula Redevelopment Agency, we were able to grow the project further beyond the amount available in the bond. And also we have a commitment from the various competitive swim teams to make the 50-meter pool a possibility. The total project at this point is $11 million to bring Missoula 6 new facilities that will extend the service from what is primarily right now swimmers ranging from 7 to 11-year-olds to infants through seniors. So we're very excited about the project. In the spring of 2004, we went through a very extensive process to select a design team, and the selection made is MacArthur Means and Wells of Missoula, working with additional partners. And we have held a number of community charrettes, and we will now be presenting preliminary schematic designs or floor plans of what those 6 facilities will look like or could look like, some of the theming that will go with those. We'll get some preliminary costs, not only for construction, but we also have a consultant involved helping us develop operational staffing needs, marketing proposals, so we know how best to make these facilities accessible and usable and actually work from a tax perspective. This is the most significant project that Missoula Parks and Recreation has delved into outside of the open space bond issue in 1995 in decades, and probably one of those types of projects with the 6 facilities that will serve the greatest number of people in our community. And so we're very excited about it. We look forward to citizen input. We plan to open all 4 splash decks in June 2005, the new indoor aquatic facility at McCormick in spring 2006, and the new outdoor aquatic facility in June 2006.
My name's Chris Behan. I'm with the Missoula Redevelopment Agency. A number of years ago, when the idea of replacing the downtown swimming facility at McCormick Park came about, of course MRA was very interested. MRA has a long history of building and rehabilitating a number of parks in the downtown along the riverfront. Not only is development of those parks an amenity for the community, but it also enhances the downtown in bringing people to the downtown area that subsequently shop and do other business in the downtown, become familiar with the area. McCormick Park had, as Donna mentioned earlier, been suffering from a number of years of decline because of long use, especially at the swimming area. MRA was immediately interested in participating in the project and is contributing $1.5 million in addition to the bond money and other donations for the facilities. But MRA's money is directed only at the downtown facility at McCormick Park because that's our area that we can work in.
My name's Kent Means from MacArthur Means and Wells Architects, and we are the lead architects for the aquatics facilities. We also have 2 major consultants out of the Minneapolis area. They're US Aquatics, which will be designing the actual pools themselves, And then we have Ankeny Kell Architects, also out of the Minneapolis area, that are recreational architectural specialists. We also have numerous other local members of our team, from electrical engineers, structural engineers, mechanical engineers, etc., mainly all from the local area. Right now we're in the process of creating the schematic designs for the project, and but first, before we did that, we started with a public process, and we set up several public meetings and had what we call charrettes, which is really a design workshop, and we've had 3 of those so far, and actually, I'm sorry, 4 of those. One of which was where we invited the children to come and help us design the facilities, which was a great experience to see how kids would like to see these facilities designed. We had one design charrette for both McCormick and the Playfair parks, and then we had one for the splash decks. And we brought the kids in, as I said, and then we also had a design charrette that was specifically oriented toward a future community center that would be added to the McCormick facility. All of these have led to a lot of great ideas and themes that have been contributed by the public. We're now taking all that information from those public meetings and bringing it into the design process and creating schematic designs for each different facility.
Well, I want to thank everybody for coming. I know it's another nice summer day, a little bit cooler today because it's cloudy, but we have exciting and important projects to share with you, and are excited also to get your feedback. My name is Donna Gaukler. I'm the director at Missoula Parks and Recreation, and just to introduce some of the folks in the room, Rob Thames is here from Parks and Recreation. He's our operations manager. And the leadership staff, I guess, from our design team is here. Kent Means with MacArthur Means and Wells, Angie Lipsky with MMW, Mark Wenzel with Ankeny Kell Architects out of the Twin Cities area, and Tom Schaefer with US Aquatics, our aquatics expert. And a lot of folks in the room that have been part of a number of public meetings that we've been through. I was asked this a couple of times today, when did your public process started? And I've been telling folks earlier than May of 2002. This has been a long process to get to the point that we're at today, and there's been an incredible amount of public participation throughout that process. It was in May 2002 that we had our first public meetings as part of the aquatics feasibility study, which was an opportunity to find out the condition of the existing facilities and compare them to all aquatic opportunities in the Missoula area, to national trends, and more importantly at that time to tell us about the physical facilities themselves. And what we learned through that process is they're old and they're decaying and they need to be replaced. So we went through a very intensive community process the summer of 2003 with the Aquatics Task Force, and there's a few people from that group here tonight that certainly, if you have any questions about that process or how we arrived at those decisions, I'll refer you to those folks. But the Aquatics Task Force was a broad interest group of neighborhood swimmers, all kinds of folks that came together and met several evenings. Very, very hot. I'll never forget how hot it got in that room at times. And they had to come up with a recommendation for City Council. And they did that. And in August of 2003, City Council voted to place a ballot issue on the November 2003 ballot, which consequently passed by vote of the public at around 58% approval. So here we are today, several months later, and we have held a number of design charrettes with the architectural design team to come up with ideas, to hear from the community. You know, now we know that we have the greatest public input, the vote, and now how do we implement that vote and get the citizens what it is they were hoping for. The facilities we're looking at tonight include an indoor aquatics facility in McCormick Park, has a family focus. We'll be moving from an outdoor competitive pool, which we'll remove after this facility is built, because it is one of the facilities that is in the greatest decay. And the indoor aquatic facility is also supported through a Missoula redevelopment project, and we'll change swimming in the downtown area from a 10 or 11 week opportunity to a 12-month opportunity. And so we're really excited about that. We'll also show you some ideas for the Playfair aquatic facility. It will replace a very small in age facility that we all refer to now as Spartan Swimming Pool, with a much larger aquatic facility that's going to be of much greater interest to a broader age group. Right now, Parks and Recreation primary service group in swimming pools are the 7 to 11-year-olds. And we know there's a lot more people besides 7 to 11-year-olds. We'll still do a good job of serving those, but we're also interested in those infants and grandparents and everything else in between. The Aquatics Task Force also made recommendations on the wading pools. We'll be replacing 3 of the turtle ponds, Bonner, Franklin, and Westside, with new splash decks. And we'll be adding a 4th facility that will be completely new, brand new, at Maryland Park in Linda Vista. So trying to also respond to the growth of the community and the direction of that growth. And all those recommendations were recommendations of the Aquatics Task Force that they brought forward to the City Council. In addition to the bond, which generated about $8.1 million, there's the 1.5 from MRA for McCormick, and there's also a $1.4 million pledge from the competitive swim community. And sometimes that's a question that we get asked. When that group of folks are out raising funds, they're sometimes asked, well, I thought we already voted for that. Well, as a community, we voted for all of that except the 50-meter pool in Playfair Park. So they're trying to raise the $1.4 million to keep competitive swimming alive in our community. And so we're trying to lend them all the support we can. So with that very brief introduction, we're going to turn this over to Mark from AKA to introduce each of the projects and try and explain how we've tried to meet some of the responses from the community. There's a couple of things I would like to add is, as we've had public process, we always try to honor the past public process and build on it instead of erase what the last group of citizens did and start over. So we continue to build on that, and you'll hear some of that message from Mark. Also, when the design team is done explaining where we're at to date, we'll give you a little brief look at where we're going in the future, and there'll also be time for each of you to meet individually with any of the staff or the architects to get more detailed information or ask your own personal questions. We have a sheet that we've given everybody. You can write anything you want. You don't have to answer these questions, but we wanted to give some questions or comments or thoughts to help guide you through some responses that we can then look at as a design team and staff and try and implement even more of your ideas. Okay, with that, Mark, I'll let you get hooked up.
Okay. See if I can. Thank you, Donna. What I'm going to try to do is just give you a sort of a peek into where we are in the process of designing these 6 facilities. We've made a lot of progress. We've done a lot of work, particularly with the help from the citizens' charrettes we've had. So now we're back working on the drawing boards and in the computer trying to develop the ideas that we heard. We're just, midway in the process, so not everything's all worked out. These aren't finished and resolved designs. Matter of fact, we've just spent a day and a half working with Parks and Rec staff, refining and adjusting and looking at things. So this is just the sort of the mid-process peek at what we're doing and try to inform particularly those people that were involved in the charrette process of what we've been up to. More work to be done, but let me just start through this. As Donna said, we have 6 sites to go through. I know this will be hard to see. I'm going to maybe move this a little bit over to the center. But afterwards, you'll have a chance to come up and look at them closely. So if you can't see real well right now, you can see better in a bit. The first one I'll start with is McCormick Park. There's a master plan that's been done for the park. That is this drawing here, and we are honoring that master plan with the work that we're doing. And the master plan indicates that just north of Silver's Lagoon is a site for a community center to be constructed. So that's the site we're working with. The reconfiguration and work of the park is not part of the work we're doing right now, but we're trying to respect that in the work that we're doing. So this is an aerial photo of the park the way it looks today, Silver's Lagoon. So here's the site to the north of Silver's Lagoon that we're building on. Now this is a multi-part project, the community center. Right now in the aquatics referendum, there is money to fund an aquatics portion, but there's a vision of this being quite a bit more of a building in the future, with future partners coming from nonprofits in the private sector to partner up with the city. So what you see in gray is just a diagram of the potential for what can come later. And the colored is the part of the project we're doing now. So we've tried to work out some parking ideas about how parking will work in the future using the existing asphalt and taking over some of the space where the current McCormick Pool is, because we want to preserve as much of the green space that exists today on the park. So essentially, if you come in the park from here on into the park, the first piece you'll come to is the aquatic center. We've tried to locate it so that it has a sort of a connection to Silver's Lagoon, the indoor water features with the lagoon to the south. And then the future community center will spread up this way with a sort of a combining street or commons area. We've done some work on that even today. But the major components that we see in the future are the Children's Museum, a gymnasium, a cultural center, and the Boys and Girls Club have all expressed interest in being partners in the future as they raise funds and can be involved in the project. But for today, the major thing that we're doing is the aquatic center. So if you can remember from that drawing we just looked at, Silver's Lagoon is right down here. The aquatic center is about a 30,000 square foot building. It has two major components. The Parks and Rec department offices will be located in here. This is going to be really the signature Parks and Rec facility for the community, and then a large aquatics, indoor aquatic center here. As you come up to the building, you'll come from walks somewhere here into doors into a commons or lobby space right here. And the first thing you'll see as you come in the building is a view into that new aquatic center. We want to show off this exciting space right away. And there's a place here for parents or visitors to sit and have a refreshment and then look out into the pool. Particularly a good spot for parents who are bringing their kids in for swim lessons. They can sit and have a cup of coffee while the kids are doing their lessons. This is the control desk. This is really the place that is the anchor for the whole facility, keeps track of everything that's going on. So if you're coming to swim for a day, if you've got an annual membership, you might show your card. If you're coming just for one day, you'll pay your fee to come in, and then you'll pass into the locker room area here. We have three kinds of locker rooms. We have a women's locker room, a family locker room, and a men's locker room. And the women's and men's locker rooms are ones like you've all seen before. But if you're not familiar with a family locker room, what they are is private changing rooms and showers. We have 5 of them. So a family can go in, a mother can take a small son, or a father, a small daughter, and not have to bring them into the men's locker room or the women's locker room. So these are private changing places right here. And then those feed directly into the aquatic center. Now the aquatic center is made up of perhaps 4 parts. This is the leisure pool, and if you haven't seen those, this is what's called the zero depth entrance. There is a beach-like approach to the pool that just simply slopes into deeper water. This will be filled with different play features, things that spray water, dump water, squirt water, things like that for the kids to play with will be scattered in this area. And then right here is what we call a current channel, so you can sort of float in moving water. It'll kind of spiral around this. And in the center is another place with a little bit deeper water, something like this deep. So we go from, the beach to about 3 feet deep of water. Places to get into the pools there. Then we have a spa in the corner, and this is really for the grown-ups. While the kids are playing in here, the grown-ups can sit in a hot tub. And we've got that located by the windows to the south, and we're going to try to make that a nice sort of secluded area, if you will, a little quieter place for grown-ups to use. Then we have a competition-sized, but really a leisure lap pool. It's not meant for competition, but it's sized so that someone could practice and work out year-round in here. But mostly it's a general-purpose pool with a deep end for doing things like maybe a scuba diving class or something like that. A shallow end that would be 3.5 to 5 feet deep for aqua aerobics classes or playing volleyball or basketball. But also it can be used as lap swimming for people who want to for physical fitness. Then the last feature is water slides. We have 2 water slides that drop into a plunge pool. And one of those is an enclosed slide that's got the tube that's all the way around that you can go really fast in. And the other one's an open slide that you can take at a little slower pace for different excitement levels. And all of it is located so it's oriented to the south, so we get lots of sunlight into the space, and there's a nice open space for those winter activities. We haven't quite worked out the character of these features we're going to work in, what sort of themes are going to be. We're still working on that, but we've got now the functional layout. And you'll see that kind of throughout the work we did. And then the last piece here is the Parks and Rec offices. Coming into the lobby, they'll have a waiting area right here so you can come in to the Parks and Rec, and they have a conference room which will be a public use conference room, their offices, some workspace, and a couple of toilet rooms there. So they'll be really accessible to the public right here in the really key part of the city. And then this is that future part that goes up, and this will all connect up to here, and this could be the future gymnasium. So that's McCormick. The next piece we have is Playfair Park, which is an outdoor aquatics center. And if you're not familiar with the park, here's an aerial photo of it. If I turn it this way, this is Bancroft, north is to the right, and this is the existing Spartan pool. The proposal that we're doing places the new water park right on top of the existing Spartan pool location, which is right about here. So, but this is much more than what the Spartan pool is. We have lots of things going on here. We have this 50-meter competition pool, which Donna mentioned. We have a leisure pool, which is a complex of all kinds of different things. Some play lots, volleyball, casual relaxing areas and things like that. So there's quite a bit here. And I'm just going to walk you through as if you came for the day and kind of introduce you to what you can do here. So the main entrance is right here along that existing parking lot that we have today. You come in through a gate in the bathhouse building, that's what's shown here. And as you enter, you would go to one of the 3 locker rooms, just like we have at McCormick. There's a men's, there's a women's, and there's family locker rooms here too. So again, little kids can be taken care of. We've got some support facilities right here. You could come in, change, come and then find one of these deck chairs, that's what these are, or tables and chairs to sort of hang out for the day. You cross this bridge that takes you over what is a lazy river, which is again something that has current in it that you can float on inner tubes, float around this sort of circuit. And we actually have this as an island right here, and if you take this fork in the river, it's going to be a little more exciting, rapids and faster water jets, things that spray on you for the adventurous. If you like it calm, you can take this way and stay calm. And there's a series of bridges that cross over that lazy river that goes around. The next feature is the leisure pool, which is this portion in the center. And again, that's that beach idea where you can just walk right into the water. It's surrounded like this with flat areas that you can walk right in. Lots of deck chairs that sort of, on the beach surrounding the water for watching the activity. And then within this space, again, will be lots of these sort of active features that dump water, spray water. Kids can interact with them, squirt water, spray their friends, things like that. And that all happens in this area right here. Then the exciting features here are the water slides. We've got 3 of them this time, and one of them's an inner tube ride where you will go up to the top and ride down on your inner tube, and then you can follow it around the river. Or 2 other slides, an enclosed slide, a really fast one, and again a more leisurely slide that dump you into the water here. Then we have the competition pool to the south. This is an area that will be used for a lot of different uses again. Competition is the major reason for the 50-meter pool here, but there'll also be opportunities for all those things I talked about at McCormick. Scuba diving, volleyball, basketball, aerobics classes, all those sorts of things will happen in that pool because a lot of it will be just about this deep. And it's a really large area for that. It's also set up so they can have competitions here. So we envision that when there's a meet, that this part of the parking lot will be taken over by the people for the meet. We'll have bleachers set up here so they can watch the swimmers, and sort of a headquarters scoreboard area right here for the people putting on the meet. And this is the pool mechanical building to provide support for all the facilities within the park. A couple more things. We have a concessions area. This is what's shown right here. We have a concession stand that will have a wide variety of snack foods to have while you're there for the day. We've designed this so people who are using the park, particularly the tennis players or whatever, can come up to the concession stand and not have to go into the water park. This is a fence right here that separates that, so you can come up and get a refreshment. We also have added new public toilets to the park, so again, tennis players and other people can go and use these toilets and don't have to come in to the water park. A tot lot for the little kids to play in and out of the water, so they've got a couple different things to do. A volleyball court for the older kids and adults to play, and then a sort of a passive area here for people who may take their kids to the park but really not be so excited about being there. Little place they can get away. And then also a party room. One of the most popular things, and I forgot to mention this at McCormick, is we have a party room, which is really great for kids to have their birthday parties at and other kinds of things. So at both places we have party rooms, so a kid can bring all his friends, have pizza and cake, and then go swimming as part of that. This also will be used as a classroom for lifeguard training or other kinds of classes that might be held at the water park. So it's again a multi-use space. Let's see, what else should I mention about this? I think that covers most of this right now. Then the last thing I have to talk about is the 4 different neighborhood parks and the spray parks in those. And the work hasn't been developed as far on those as the other 2 facilities. What we've really done so far is really looked at where within the existing parks a new spray park should go and what theme should each park have. Those are really the 2 things we've accomplished so far. We haven't really designed them very far yet. We've just gotten into that. In the charrettes we had with the public, and a lot of those folks are here, we talked a lot about lots of different characters that the parks could have, and wanted to make sure each park had its own kind of unique new feature, rather than make them all the same or make them all generically tot lot places. So we've worked at 2 of them are based on sort of literature themes, and 2 of them are based on natural themes. So at Bonner Park, we've selected Alice in Wonderland as a literature story to be used as the theme for that spray park. Now, accomplishing that theme is the job ahead, but we've shown just some characters from the story of Alice in Wonderland, them squirting water and things like that, just to give you an idea of what the goal is. Now, within the park itself, here's Bonner Park. If you're familiar with it, you know that the existing wading pool is right in the center of the park. And that was determined to be the best location for the future one, so we're going to build it right where the current one is. It will be quite different. If you're not familiar with spray decks, they don't have any standing water. The water goes into drains and is recirculated, filtered, cleaned, reheated, and sent back out to the things that spray. So it's really a playground with just spraying features in it. And we're going to get 6 or so spray features to each park and to work those in. So that's the area that will be located. Some of it will be dry space and some of it will be wet. And we've just shown the sort of quantity of wet space versus dry space because you space these different features out. So at Bonner, it's about Alice in Wonderland and reinforcing the current design of the park with the new spray deck on top of the current wading pool. The next one to talk about is Maryland Park. And this is really a relatively undeveloped park at this time. So we kind of master planned the whole park for its future development. And here we came up with a theme of flora and fauna, which is really about nature, but it's the little creatures. It's the grasshoppers and squirrels and frogs and really turtles, which is what started the whole discussion from the original turtle ponds that we have. So this is kind of themed for maybe the smaller kids in mind a bit for that neighborhood. But currently, there's a large sloping field at this end of the park. There's a rather poor baseball diamond at the upper end, some tennis courts, a basketball court, and then just a swing set and a couple other features right in the center of the park. So in the new design, what we've done is said the southern end of the park will be the, I'm sorry, I always get this backwards, the north end of the park will be playing fields. So we'll slope this, flatten this land off a bit to make a good soccer-sized play field with a baseball play field overlay like that. And then the upper portions of the park will become passive and toddler areas. So we have a picnic, passive park area up here, replacing this ball diamond, which is kind of in a dangerous position next to playgrounds because of flying balls in the outfield. A future dry playground here, a tot lot if you will, and then the new spray deck right here with kind of a new entrance to the park. If you've been there, you know there's kind of a picket or a split rail fence, and we'll try to make a gateway into the park here. And a new toilet building and some kind of a shade structure. Each of the spray decks will have a toilet building and a pump house to reinforce those. Bonner's already exists. We just have to add on the pump house for all the filtering equipment. But this one will have to get a new one for toilets for that. But the spray deck will be here, and we're going to try to do, as we mentioned, bring in woodland and meadow creatures to give that character and a theme for that park. The next park is West Side, and if you're familiar with West Side Park, the current wading pool is right here next to West Side School. It's located right there, and there is a major play structure in the center of the park here that has kind of a castle theme to it. So the theme we took here from literature was Robin Hood, of that era of medieval castles, and to work that in to reinforce the castle theme of the park already. And we've relocated the spray deck to this portion of the park for a couple of reasons. One, this location has an underground easement for the telephone company right underneath the portion of the current pond, and we're afraid of dealing with that issue. We don't want to have it cut up someday because they have to replace a telephone line. Also, this is very shaded. There's not a lot of sunlight that gets to this one because of the trees, and they're trying to encroach on that. So there's a little more open space to this portion of the park, And we can move it over there, get it away from the school a bit, and have more sunlight onto the deck. We would also need to build new toilet structure here because the current one's in very poor condition. And although at this phase we'll be putting in a temporary changing area, really a fenced off space so that there's a place to change, and showers, outdoor shower, but not a full bathhouse. But that's something that would need to be done in the future, is a new toilet facility right here. And the spray deck goes here, and we're going to try to work, you know, Friar Tuck and Robin Hood and all those folks into the theme of the park. The very last one is Franklin. Franklin has its current wading pool right in the corner here at the intersection. After reviewing the park and looking at lots of options, we thought that was still the best place for it, right at the corner. But we wanted to make sure that it was a safe place and a good place. So we're going to look at the fencing issue around the corner, so we don't have little kids running out into the street, and kind of new entrance locations to come into the park, so that it, again, it's a really nice setting the way it is right now today, but we want to make sure it stays a very safe place for the kids. And then there will be a pool equipment building added onto the current toilet building that's there already, because that building's in good shape. We can just add the plumbing needs of the spray deck to it. And this one's based on a natural theme, nature again. Rivers, trails, and tracks is what we've called it. And what came out of the charrette process was about the rivers in Missoula, you know, the Clark Fork and Bitterroot and things like that, the animal history, the natural history. So we talked about trails through this, you know, elk or whatever, bear, those kinds of things, or Lewis and Clark and the trails through the area. So this one will have a theme based on nature and that sort of thing.
If citizens are involved in learning more about any of the splash decks or the two major aquatic facilities, we would encourage them to call 721-PARK. We'll have schematic designs posted at our website. Welcome to make comments, ask any question that you have in mind. And also, I think it's important for citizens to realize that there is a fundraising group out there called Swim Missoula. And we encourage you to support that group, because that is the group that's trying to raise $1.4 million to add the 50-meter competitive pool to Playfair, which will be a wonderful venue for our community. There's fewer and fewer of these large competitive pools across the nation, and Missoula could truly be one of the unique communities that maintains that level of competitive swimming right alongside the great leisure type facilities that are geared more toward the recreational swimmer.